Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Lori, and I am in the car because I have a lot of clients who have driving anxiety. And I thought, you know what, let me do a video on driving anxiety because a lot of that is going to be, so you get in your head about fear. So I'm going to tell you some of the things that I've heard. It may resonate with you, it may not, but some things that I've definitely helped my clients with, okay? So number one is obviously people go, what if I kill people? Like that's literally, they're like, oh my God, what if I like lose control over it? I mean, is that a possibility? I mean, anything's a possibility, but I'm just telling you the ones I've heard, and I'm gonna go through how you can like alleviate some of those. Okay. And obviously it's going to be exposure. I do exposure therapy, which means if you fear it, we do it, and we do it a lot until you don't fear it anymore. Right. Another one is, well, other people. I don't trust other people. I don't trust highway driving. Yes. Is it true that people are careless drivers? Yes. Have I been a careless driver from time to time? Yes. When I've been sleepy or whatever. Yes, it happens. Are those things possible? Yes, they are. But guess what? You could walk out your house right now, trip, fall, bust your head wide open, and just die. Like, could happen. And before you go, yeah, I mean, but no, don't say but, because if you've watched the news, you realize it doesn't matter where you are, not great things can happen. Okay. So when you're driving, first and foremost, the one thing that I always recommend, number one, is you can't control other people. I don't care if it's driving, walking, shopping, you cannot control them. You're gonna have to get okay with that. Now, think of it this way. You also don't want to have to rely on people. Oh, side note, people also have a hard time being a passenger, and that's because you have control issues. That's your ego, baby. You're like, I'm not in control of it. It's the same thing people, when they have flying anxiety, it's the same thing. If they could fly the plane, they feel like they might be better. No, this is where you're going to have to really pump your brakes on the control issue, right? So one thing that I'd love for you to do is to get inside of your vehicle, or a vehicle, doesn't even have to be yours, right? My car is my sanctuary. Sometimes I'll just pull up to the house after being on a drive or wherever I've been, and I like to just sit in my vehicle. It's quiet. Nobody needs anything. Nobody wants anything. So before you even think about driving, I want you to get familiar with your vehicle. I want you to know where the engine is. I want you to know where the tires are. I want you to know where the spare tire is. I want you to know if you have AAA or however, if you break down on the side of the road, what you would need. Want to make sure you know where everything is on your car. If you have your radio, I want you to program your radio. I want you to just sit in your vehicle. Just let it be yours. You're not even on the road driving. Like, let's just chill out and let's get really comfortable with your vehicle. See, the problem is a lot of people are like, well, it's a death machine. Okay, let's not label it that way. Let's label it a vehicle, okay? Because that's essentially what it is. Now, here is what I always recommend as well. So let's get out of the car, okay? So a lot of times you get really ahead of yourself when you start worrying about, oh my God, what if I go down far? What if I do this? So one thing I like to do, okay, seriously, is I like for you to go to a place and I want you to sit down on the ground, okay? I'm actually in the parking lot from the grocery store because I just left the gym, but I want you to just sit on the ground, and I want you to sit really close to your vehicle, like right here, okay? I want you to sit really close to your vehicle. I want you to get on the level lower than your vehicle. Trust me, it just is a thing. I want you to look at it, look at it really big. And I want you to be very, very clear in the fact that right now it's just a vehicle. That's all it is. So I want you to get really comfortable. I want you to sit down low. I want you to pop the hood. I want you to look where you would replace the windshield wiper fluid. Yes, I know people can do it for you, but you want to have some knowledge about your vehicle. Okay, so you don't just want to get in the car and drive it. You want to know, like, where's your spare tire? What if you needed to do those things? So you also want to go and you want to get really cozy with your vehicle, right? I know it sounds silly. Some people name their vehicles. I do. That's Kira. I've named her Kira. And so I like to name my vehicle. So that's number one. Also, instead of saying, oh my God, I got to get on the highway, I got to do all these things. Let's just, if I put you down, I want you to that's all the distance you have to go. Right there. Just go to the end of that road, right? So let's not make this a big deal, because much like everything else that you do in your life, you catastrophize things, and that's just not going to serve your best and highest good. I can't have you sitting in a catastrophe, because those things could happen. Well, worrying about it and not driving doesn't automatically just make it go away. Hard pass. Okay. So that's where exposure comes in. Yes, you got to drive. That means if you're afraid of getting on the highway, that's where you need to be. Okay. You don't have to go in the left lane. You don't have to go flying down the hill, and just go down to the first exit. Okay. So when you get on any kind of a highway or any kind of a main road, I want you to just get on the highway. Just get on there, right? You're going to have to practice the merging. Yes. Is it a little scary, creepy when you're kind of trying to come on there and you see this big old truck coming on there? Yes. But all you can do is go. Like, seriously, like, there isn't a magic button that's like, well, you're going to feel so much more comfortable doing this. No, you're just going to have to get used to it. When you're repetitive in nature, you just know, hey, this way you don't have to rely on somebody to come pick you up. You don't have to rely on paying for Ubers. You can actually get in a vehicle, and you say that you like to have control. Well, you have control of going somewhere at your will if you have your vehicle or if you have access to one, right? So when you're in that space, I also can't have you driving too cautiously. So there's such a thing. Well, some people think careless driving is just like, oh, you're not thinking and distraction. Yes, but it's also being too cautious, right? There is such a thing as driving too slow. There's such a thing. Listen, people are going to be, I'm a very aggressive driver because I'm a city driver, right? Like I love to drive in New York. A lot of people don't. I know how to weave. I know how to do all of that. That's not reckless. That's just, I know how I'm driving that, right? Not everybody's going to like that, but I'm not going to cut you off. I'm just going to, I know how to drive a distance, but don't let my weaving mean something that you have to weave. You don't, right? So I want you to get on the road, and I want you to go down to the first exit. Seriously, just say, that's why I said, you just look at the distance. You go, okay, I can go down one exit. Okay. No need to build up. No need to go, oh my God, this sucks so bad. Oh my God. Oh my God. If you keep telling yourself that, yeah, it's going to be really difficult. You can do it. Remember, if you believe you can or you believe you cannot, you are right. All right. So you get on the road and boom, you go off to the next exit, right? Okay. Maybe that's so short that you're like, okay, well, that's not really that big of a deal. I have more of an issue on the highway. Okay. Well, good. We're going to go to the highway. Good. Let's do that. Let's go down 2 miles, have a destination. Let's say you're like IKEA or the mall or whatever. I want you to have a destination. Actually go through, chart what that destination is. Don't try to avoid the highway. No. Don't try to avoid the highway, because again, your fears aren't protecting you. They are imprisoning you. I don't care what phobias you have. And we're going to talk about different phobias this week. It's like a phobia series, but I'm just doing them standalone. But this is a phobia that people have of driving. So I have clients all over. I'll sit in the passenger side on the phone. I'll sit in the passenger side on FaceTime or Zoom or something. And I kind of, with my clients, I'll walk them through it. I'm like, okay. They're like, okay, I'm freaking out. No, you're fine. We're all in the car together. We're good. We're good. Right? Because the moment you tell yourself you can't or that you're afraid of it, your body doesn't know if you have a real threat or if it's a perceived threat. Like it just doesn't know. It's not like your mind is like, oh my God, this is an irrational thought. Like, what are you doing? Of course not. Your body is going to respond as such. But if you build it up and you go, okay, what if these things happen? What if they don't? What if you actually make your destination and you have a joyful time? You can stay as long as you want. You can leave when you want. You're looking at it from the what if these negative things happen, catastrophic thinking. What if they don't? And what if they do? I mean, I've been in accidents. I've been in really like not so great accidents, and I'll show you. Like, not to like freak you out. I mean, this was when I was 21, but see this right here? See that? Yeah. Oh yeah. That's when I was drinking and driving. That's right. Your girl was 21 and was at a bar in DC and thought I could drive. And I was just super drunk, and I blew through a red light, and the people who hit me were also super drunk, and I was in somebody else's vehicle. It flipped. It landed on my leg. They didn't even know, like the guy who I was with was like, I don't even know if you like made it. And so I ended up getting gangrene in my leg, and then I had to get it like debrided. It was I was on this like weird, like super like self-sabotage mission when I was like 19 to 21 because I hadn't been healed. And so, but I was like, okay, well, that was my own fault, right? That was my own fault. And the person who hit me, like we were all drinking. But that's not going to stop me from getting in the car. It's not the only accident I've been in, and some I've just been a passenger in some, because those things happen. When you get clear that you can't control situations, that's going to really help you, right? Because you also, this is a way that you can start taking back your life. When you're petrified of driving and you're afraid to go somewhere, then you're relying on other people. You are kind of at the mercy of other people, and you're like, okay, but this is like a real fear. It's a real fear, okay? But we can get through that real fear. So you have to be committed to doing it. So you're going to want to baby step it, but don't go too baby step. Don't be like, oh, I'm ready. No, you got to do it when you're not ready. You got to do it when you don't feel like it. That is the biggest secret to exposure. You do it when you're afraid. You do it because you are petrified and you almost can't breathe. You're fine. You are fine. So you want to do small things, get to know your vehicle, understand that you can't control people around you. That is true, but that's anywhere and everywhere you go. You can go to the church and not come out alive. You can go to the mall, not come out alive. Like, there's a lot of things that happen in the world. And if you worry about everything that's going on in the world and you worry about those things, which we're going to talk about in another video of like global stuff that's happening, then you're going to stay imprisoned. You're not protecting yourself. You're imprisoning yourself. So go get familiar with your vehicle, give yourself small bits, and understand that this is how you're taking back your power. And that is how we start our driving.